Welcome back to our spine-chilling series exploring the most haunted abandoned places in the United States, where history and horror intertwine in ways that defy explanation. In this second episode of Most Haunted Abandoned Places in the U.S., we delve deeper into the shadows cast by ghostly legends, uncovering tales so spine-tingling they'll leave you questioning the boundaries between the living and the dead. From crumbling asylums to forgotten industrial complexes, America is a treasure trove of spectral stories rooted in tragedy, betrayal, and unrelenting sorrow. Abandoned places are more than just decaying structures, they're vessels carrying the echoes of lives lived and lost. These sites bear witness to events that continue to reverberate through time: Civil War skirmishes, frontier feuds, unsolved murders, and the lingering presence of those who refuse to move on. Each location holds its own dark secrets, whispered through creaking floorboards, flickering lights, and disembodied voices that drift through empty halls. Whether you're drawn by morbid curiosity or an insatiable thirst for the supernatural, these destinations promise encounters that blur the line between reality and nightmare. In this episode, we'll journey to some of the most infamous abandoned locales across the United States, places steeped in lore and fear, where the past refuses to stay buried. We'll peer into the shadowy depths of haunted hospitals, explore eerie mansions cloaked in mystery, and tread cautiously through abandoned institutions teeming with restless spirits. Along the way, we'll hear first-hand accounts from witnesses brave enough to confront the unknown, examine chilling evidence captured by paranormal investigators, and unravel the tragic histories that give rise to these hauntings. So dim the lights, keep your ears sharp, and prepare yourself for a descent into the macabre. As we step into the haunted heart of America's abandoned spaces, remember, sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil, and once you cross it, there's no turning back. The Waverly Hills Sanatorium, a legacy of suffering perched atop a hill overlooking Louisville, Kentucky. The Waverly Hills Sanatorium stands as a grim monument to one of humanity's darkest battles, the fight against tuberculosis. Opened in 1910 during a time when the disease ravaged communities across America, the sanatorium was designed to provide fresh air, sunlight therapy, and cutting-edge treatments for those afflicted. Its grand architecture, complete with sweeping verandas, large windows, and a labyrinthine network of underground tunnels, initially gave hope to patients seeking refuge from the deadly epidemic. Yet beneath its polished veneer lay a darker narrative, one marked by suffering, despair, and untimely deaths that have left an indelible mark on the site. One of the most enduring legends tied to Waverly Hills revolves around room 502, said to be haunted by the spirit of a nurse named Mary. According to local lore, Mary worked tirelessly in the sanatorium during the height of the tuberculosis outbreak. Overwhelmed by personal struggles and professional pressures, she tragically took her own life by leaping from the window of room 502. Her ghost is believed to linger within the walls of the room, manifesting as a faint outline of a woman clad in vintage nursing attire. Visitors frequently report hearing soft humming emanating from the space, accompanied by the sensation of icy fingers brushing against their skin. Some claim to wake up in the middle of the night to find their bedsheets tangled impossibly tight around their limbs, as if restrained by invisible hands. Another prominent figure in the sanatorium's haunted lore is believed to be none other than Dr. J. Edward Hardesty, a controversial physician whose experimental treatments pushed ethical boundaries. Former staff members whisper about unauthorized procedures performed under the guise of routine care, including lobotomies and prolonged isolation. Paranormal investigators exploring the property have captured EVP recordings suggesting the presence of a male entity whispering phrases like, "Help me," and "I'm sorry." Witnesses describe seeing a shadowy figure resembling Dr. Hardesty pacing anxiously near operating rooms, clutching what appears to be a scalpel before vanishing without a trace. The sanatorium's infamous body chute, a hidden tunnel system used to discreetly transport deceased patients away from public view, has become a focal point of paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the area often describe hearing muffled voices and the sound of footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Some claim to see shadowy figures dragging invisible loads, their movements jerky and unnatural. A particularly chilling account comes from a maintenance worker who swore he felt cold metal cuffs snap around his wrists, pulling him backward toward the darkness before releasing him abruptly. Overnight visitors to Waverly Hills frequently recount bizarre experiences that defy logical explanation. Lights flicker unpredictably, especially in hallways leading to the older sections of the building. Doors slam shut on their own, and the scent of antiseptic wafts through the air despite the facility's abandonment decades ago. One guest described waking up to find his reflection in the mirror staring back at him, but not quite matching his movements, as if another entity stood behind him, mimicking his actions. Another recounted seeing a man in a dusty patient gown standing at the foot of her bed, his hollow eyes boring into hers before vanishing without a sound. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, Waverly Hills remains a popular destination for history enthusiasts and thrill-seekers alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to book a stay, the possibility of encountering Mary, Dr. Hardesty, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to face the darkness that lingers within these walls, or will they become another chapter in the sanatorium's tragic tale. The Penhust Asylum, echoes of institutional horror nestled in the rolling hills of Spring City, Pennsylvania. The Penhust Asylum stands as a haunting reminder of the dark legacy of institutional care in America. Originally opened in 1908 as the Eastern Pennsylvania State Institution for the Feeble-Minded and Epileptic, the facility quickly became overcrowded, housing thousands of patients in conditions that were nothing short of deplorable. Over the decades, it gained infamy for its systemic abuse, neglect, and unethical experiments conducted on vulnerable individuals deemed unfit for society. Today, the abandoned asylum serves as both a historical landmark and a hotspot for paranormal activity, where the cries of the mistreated continue to echo through its decaying halls. One of the most pervasive legends tied to Penhust involves the crying girl, a spectral figure believed to haunt Ward D. According to former staff members, the girl, a young patient named Anna, was subjected to repeated physical and emotional abuse by caretakers who viewed her as little more than a burden. Her anguished wails were said to reverberate through the ward at night, a sound so piercing it could be heard even outside the building. Decades later, visitors exploring the asylum report hearing similar cries emanating from the same area, accompanied by the sensation of being watched. Some claim to see a translucent childlike figure wandering the corridors, her wide eyes filled with terror, before dissolving into thin air. Another prominent figure in the asylum's haunted lore is Dr. John Cromwell, a controversial psychiatrist known for his aggressive use of electroshock therapy and experimental drugs. Former employees whisper about secret labs hidden deep within the basement, where Dr. Cromwell tested dubious treatments without proper consent. Paranormal investigators exploring the property have captured EVP recordings suggesting the presence of a male voice muttering phrases like, "I can fix them," and "Stay still." Witnesses describe seeing a tall, imposing figure in a white coat pacing anxiously near treatment rooms, clutching what appears to be a clipboard before vanishing without explanation. The asylum's basement, once used for storage and solitary confinement, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the area describe hearing chains rattling and heavy footsteps echoing through the narrow passageways, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a janitor who swore he saw a young boy playing with marbles in the corner of the room, only for the child to disappear when approached. Theories abound that the boy may have been a victim of illness or accident during the asylum's operational years, forever trapped in the confines of its lower levels. Modern-day investigations into Penhust's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the third-floor hallway and the basement. Electromagnetic field meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to original occupants. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings. which captured disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "Let me out," and "Please stop." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, Penhust Asylum continues to draw visitors eager to immerse themselves in its storied past. For those brave enough to explore its corridors, the opportunity to encounter Anna, Dr. Cromwell, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its architectural grandeur or the thrill of peeling back the layers of its enigmatic history, Penhust promises an unforgettable experience where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the echoes of yesterday linger just beyond reach. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, madness beyond the walls tucked away in Weston, West Virginia. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum looms as a colossal relic of institutional horror, its sprawling Gothic Revival architecture casting long shadows over the surrounding countryside. Constructed between 1858 and 1881, the asylum was originally intended to house 250 patients but eventually swelled to accommodate over 2,400 individuals, many of whom suffered unimaginable abuse and neglect. Designed as a self-sufficient community with its own farm, dairy, and cemetery, the facility quickly devolved into chaos, earning a reputation for overcrowding, violence, and experimental treatments that bordered on barbaric. Today, the abandoned asylum stands as a chilling testament to the failures of mental health care, its haunted halls home to countless spirits unwilling, or unable, to move on. One of the most enduring legends tied to the asylum centers around Lily, a young patient admitted in the late 19th century after exhibiting signs of schizophrenia. According to historical records, Lily was subjected to hydrotherapy, a brutal treatment involving submersion in ice-cold water, as doctors attempted to cure her condition. Unable to endure the torment, she allegedly drowned herself in one of the asylum's bathtubs. Visitors exploring the facility report hearing faint splashing sounds emanating from bathrooms, accompanied by the distinct smell of wet stone. Some claim to see a pale figure dressed in a tattered hospital gown wandering the corridors, her hair dripping water as though perpetually soaked. Others describe feeling an icy draft pass through them as she drifts by, leaving behind a trail of dampness on the floor. Another prominent figure in the asylum's haunted lore is believed to be Jacob Deegan, a violent inmate housed in the maximum security wing during the early 20th century. Known for his unpredictable outbursts and penchant for attacking staff and fellow patients, Jacob was eventually placed in solitary confinement after murdering 2 orderlies. His ghost is said to haunt the isolation cells, manifesting as a shadowy figure pacing anxiously near barred windows. Witnesses describe hearing guttural growls and the sound of fists pounding against walls, as though Jacob is still raging against his captivity. Some visitors swear they've seen claw-like scratches appear spontaneously on their skin after venturing too close to his former cell. The asylum's chapel, once a place of solace for patients seeking spiritual refuge, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with cleaning the area often describe hearing faint hymns sung in languages unfamiliar to modern ears, believed to be the dialects spoken by long-dead patients. Shadows flit across peripheral vision, disappearing when directly observed. Some claim to see apparitions of men and women in tattered clothing kneeling in prayer, their faces gaunt and weary, as though seeking redemption even in death. Others report feeling an overwhelming sense of peace wash over them upon entering the space, as though the spirits of those who found comfort there continued to offer solace to the living. Paranormal investigators exploring the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near the isolation cells and the chapel. EVP recordings capture faint whispers pleading for help, interspersed with anguished cries. One investigator captured a chilling photograph of a translucent figure standing in the doorway of an abandoned ward, its hands raised as if begging for mercy. These findings have solidified the asylum's reputation as one of the most active haunted sites in the United States. Despite, or perhaps because of, its grim history, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum continues to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the atrocities committed in pursuit of misguided medical progress. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, the asylum offers an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into obscurity. The Danvers State Hospital whispers beneath the gabled roofs perched atop Hathorne Hill in Danvers, Massachusetts. The Danvers State Hospital casts an ominous silhouette against the New England sky. Opened in 1878, this sprawling Victorian-era institution was designed according to the Kirkbride Plan, which emphasized moral treatment and therapeutic architecture. Its gabled roofs, towering spires, and labyrinthine corridors were meant to inspire healing and tranquility. However, within its walls unfolded decades of neglect, abuse, and experimental treatments that left scars on both patients and the structure itself. By the time it closed its doors in 1992, the hospital had earned a reputation as one of the most haunted places in America, a title reinforced by the countless reports of paranormal activity that followed its abandonment. One of the most persistent legends tied to the Danvers State Hospital revolves around Lydia Walker, a patient admitted in the 1930s for severe depression following the loss of her family. Historical accounts suggest that Lydia was subjected to insulin shock therapy, a brutal procedure intended to induce comas and reset the brain's chemistry. Overwhelmed by the trauma, she reportedly hanged herself in Ward C, leaving behind a note that read, "I can't take it anymore." Visitors exploring the facility claimed to hear faint sobbing emanating from the same ward, accompanied by the sensation of unseen hands gripping their shoulders. Some report seeing a translucent woman in a faded dress wandering the corridors, her tear-streaked face illuminated by moonlight streaming through cracked windows. Another prominent figure in the hospital's haunted lore is believed to be Dr. Henry Ames, a pioneering yet ruthless psychiatrist who championed lobotomies as a cure-all for mental illness. Former staff members whisper about unauthorized surgeries performed under the guise of routine care, with patients waking up permanently altered, or worse, dead. Paranormal investigators exploring the property have captured EVP recordings suggesting the presence of a male voice muttering phrases like, "Fix them," and "They won't listen." Witnesses describe seeing a shadowy figure resembling Dr. Ames pacing anxiously near operating rooms, clutching what appears to be a scalpel before vanishing without explanation. The hospital's basement, once used for storage and morgue operations, has become a focal point of paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the area describe hearing muffled voices and the sound of footsteps echoing through the narrow passageways, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a janitor who swore he saw a young boy playing with marbles in the corner of the room, only for the child to disappear when approached. Theories abound that the boy may have been a victim of illness or accident during the hospital's operational years, forever trapped in the confines of its lower levels. Modern-day investigations into the Danvers State Hospital's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the third-floor hallway and the basement. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to original occupants. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "Help us," and "Don't leave." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Danvers State Hospital continues to draw visitors eager to immerse themselves in its storied past. For those brave enough to explore its corridors, the opportunity to encounter Lydia, Dr. Ames, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its architectural grandeur or the thrill of peeling back the layers of its enigmatic history, the hospital promises an unforgettable experience where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the echoes of yesterday linger just beyond reach. Patterns across America's haunted abandoned places, themes of tragedy and resilience as we traverse the haunted landscapes of America. From the opulent halls of the Waverly Hills Sanatorium to the somber grounds of the Penhurst Asylum, striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of sanatoriums to the shadowed basements of asylums, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical experiments, or the betrayed trust of patients subjected to inhumane treatments, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic buildings, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from various haunted hospitals, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The brutal medical practices embedded in the DNA of older establishments contrast sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized in urban legends. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted places transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. The psychology of fear. Why abandoned places captivate us? What is it about abandoned places that grips our imaginations so profoundly? Beyond the creaking floorboards and flickering lights lies a deeper allure, one rooted in the psychology of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. These sites, by their very nature, are places of vulnerability. They are where we confront our mortality, stripped of autonomy and control, relying entirely on the expertise of others to heal us, or where justice was denied, leaving wounds that refuse to heal. When these spaces become haunted, they amplify our primal fears, transforming familiar settings into arenas of existential dread. The combination of historical context, architectural design, and the lingering presence of past suffering creates a perfect storm of terror that resonates deeply within us. At the core of this captivation is the concept of liminality, the state of being on the threshold between two worlds. Haunted places exist in this liminal space, bridging life and death, health and illness, hope and despair. This inherent duality makes them fertile ground for supernatural narratives. Ghosts, as manifestations of unresolved trauma or unfinished business, embody the tension of being caught between states. They serve as reminders that the boundaries we construct, between life and afterlife, sanity and madness, are far more permeable than we'd like to believe. For many, visiting a haunted site feels like stepping into a twilight zone where the rules of reality no longer apply, igniting both curiosity and unease. Architecturally, haunted places contribute to this atmosphere of dread through their design. Long, sterile hallways lined with identical doors create a sense of disorientation, while poor lighting and echoing acoustics heighten sensory awareness. These features mimic the psychological effects of anxiety and claustrophobia, making even mundane sounds, a distant cough, the hum of fluorescent lights, feel ominous. The labyrinthine layouts of older structures, with their hidden wings and underground tunnels, evoke feelings of entrapment and uncertainty. Every corner becomes a potential threat, every shadow a possible harbinger of danger. This environmental manipulation taps into our instinctual fight-or-flight response, keeping us perpetually on edge. Cultural influences also play a significant role in shaping our fascination with haunted places. Media representations, from films like The Shining to television series such as American Horror Story, have cemented the trope of the haunted asylum, courthouse, or battlefield as a locus of horror. These portrayals often blend historical truths with fictional embellishments, creating a mythology that blurs fact and fiction. Audiences are drawn to these stories because they reflect societal anxieties about institutional power, systemic injustice, and the fragility of the human mind. Haunted places become microcosms of larger fears, the loss of agency, the misuse of authority, and the haunting specter of mistakes made in the name of progress. Moreover, abandoned places appeal to our desire for catharsis. Engaging with these tales allows us to process our own fears about mortality, injustice, and the flaws inherent in systems meant to protect us. By confronting ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena, we externalize internal anxieties, transforming abstract fears into tangible adversaries. This vicarious experience provides a safe outlet for exploring the darker aspects of human existence, offering both thrill and relief. It's no wonder that ghost tours and paranormal investigations of haunted places attract participants eager to test their courage against the unknown. As we bring this chilling journey through America's most haunted abandoned places to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of America's haunted abandoned places yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, stand in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken institutions offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of decades-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Share your findings with fellow enthusiasts, document your journey, and keep the conversation alive. After all, every whisper contributes to the symphony of the supernatural. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.